Good morning, welcome to the next podcast of Andy Collier-talks cricket memorabilia. I'd just like to start by thanking people for their kind messages last week after the passing of my brother. That's much appreciated, thank you very much. So anyway, yesterday afternoon, myself and Rob Newlett took ourselves back to Guildford to see Mr. Frith, who was on fine form, thankfully, looking well. His hip replacement has gone very well, so we had a great afternoon just chatting cricket basically and the history of the game, so it was fantastic. I had a look around the library, so renewed myself with a few things that I hadn't seen for a while, so that was a great afternoon with Mr. Cricket. And so anyway, this week a few more bits and pieces have turned up, and we can talk about some supplements that arrived as well and the history of those. So first up was the Archie McLaren postcard here. This is sent in 1905 with a lovely stamp on the back there from 1905 that was sent to Stafford. Splendid in as a 42 not out, so it's obviously a birthday card, and a good one too, Archie McLaren. So pleased to have that one in the collection. Also turned up this week, which was the supplements I was talking about. First of all is the lovely supplement here of the English team, 1932-33. Obviously the Bodyline series, but this is a photograph of the team that played in the first match at Perth. Mr. Jardine there, confidently crossing his legs, saying, "I am the captain," by the looks of things. So that's gone down very well, actually. And that's in the Australasian, November the 12th, 1932. And then on the back of that comes this rather nice personalities. Got Australian cricketers in there, some famous names there, Ryder and Gregory on there, a couple of smokers there of Ernie Jones and Monty Noble, very rarely seen without their pipe or cigarette in their hand, all very film star like in those days. They made room there for the master himself, Jack Hobbs. Nice big picture of him there playing a defensive shot down the pitch. So that's the Australasian, which ran for quite some time in Australia. I've got it written down here so I don't forget. That went from 1864 to 1946, and it finished then. So that's a very popular edition of the newspaper in Australia. Some fantastic photographs and that of sporting people and events and whatever, so it was quite popular, but unfortunately packed in 46. So next one from Australia is, I've had this one quite a while, is the Sydney Mail. There's the Sydney Mail there, with Percy Chapman on the front, 1928 this one, October 31st, 1928, so they're not long after they landed. And there's some lovely bits and pieces in here on the match and the team there that played. That's a major, the full touring team there. Don't quite know why George Geary is still in a inset position there on the team photograph. He's never seemed to be in any of the team photographs, so we're not quite sure why that was. Perhaps he was Canberra shy. And there's some bits and pieces there of the match against South Australia. So it's a lovely publication there, and some nice adverts on the back. Only 8 weeks to Christmas. You might feel like that now, actually, to be honest. We're not looking forward to Christmas over here with the way things are going, everything going up. Nice Murdoch's in Sydney there. So that's a nice publication there. The Sydney Mail, 1928. The Sydney Mail, that ran from 1860 to 1938. So there's some, again, a similar type thing to the Australasian, with lovely images and photographs of players, all sporting events. So quite a nice thing to have in the collection. And the next lovely one is the English version, really. It's the Illustrated Sporting and Dramatic News. This one I put on earlier in the week on Facebook. This is Wilf Barber, Yorkshire, being bowled by E.R.T. Holmes, with Reg Machin as wicketkeeper, as Surrey wicketkeeper, which he only played 8 games. So this is quite a rare photograph of Mr. Machin. So I'm quite pleased to have that, and that was very little money on eBay a few years ago. An excellent condition of that. Illustrated Sporting and Dramatic News. What date was that? Oh, that was September 1928, that one. So there's bits and pieces on here. It's just advertising on the inside page there of begins a brilliant new series of sporting detective stories. Specially written for Sporting and Dramatic by the famous novelist W. Douglas Newton. So actually I haven't read any of those, so I don't know what they were like. Author of Suki, The Brute, oh blimey, and Eyes of Men, etc. So there we are. Perhaps you've read those. But no, well pleased with that illustrated Sporting and Dramatic News page. Now they actually, I've got it written down here again, Sporting and Dramatic News 1874 to 1945. So that's a similar sort of thing to the Australia's publications, but unfortunately packed in, but put its mark on the history of the game, and again put all sorts of sports in the headlines. So anyway, a few weeks ago, or quite a number of weeks ago now, I purchased a photograph there of Ranji Sinji wearing a blazer that even the Sussex boys didn't know who it was. I don't know why, because it's actually turned out as a lovely photograph here with him wearing a blazer, and it's his team that went to North America in 1899 with the likes of Bosanquet and Stoddard, McLaren, Brand, Llewellyn, Townsend, all in the bottom picture here. So there's the blazer. So now I've confirmed where that comes from. So it's Ranji Sinji's blazer from 1899, and that come in my Deerfield Storage Stob, which I took to David Fifth yesterday to get nicely signed for me. It's the only one I haven't got signed actually. So that was that, and always worth a visit to Dave, because he gave me this lovely set of 1934 John Player and Sons cigarette cards, full set there. Not brilliant condition, but one set I didn't have, even though they're even a common set. So that's a nice one to have there. So I'm pleased with that. And just one more of the illustrated news to show you. Again on the Bodyline team. This is a full set, the normal one that you see, with Pataldi putting his arm on Hedley Verity's shoulders there. And it's interesting written down the bottom there, the winners of the Ashes, the MCC team who regained their laurels, or their lost laurels, in Australia. So quite a nice picture there, original photograph. That's the Illustrated Sporting and Dramatic News, February the 25th, 1933. And I managed to find a lovely original frame for it, which I think goes very well. So I had that nicely framed. So I'm really pleased with that. So that's about it for this week. Just to tell you that Rodney Litt did a nice video of me with some information on Across the Oceans, which is the book I wrote probably 2 years ago now, nearly 3 years ago actually. Done a nice piece on that, just explaining things, and went downstairs in the inner sanctum showing a few photographs. So that's to look forward to. He's going to go back to South Africa now and edit that to send over to me. So something to look forward to. So anyway, that's about it for this week, and hope to see you next week. Cheers.